Hello, welcome to Goblins of Creation. Today's going to be a sculpting video, just for a change. Makes a change from all the drawing, I suppose. And I've been looking at a few different videos by other creators, and I kind of wanted to do something a bit fantastical, but also a little bit sort of whimsical. On a slightly less whimsical note, I got some offcuts of foam board. So I'm going to use that as the base for this. When I'm never entirely sure whether to actually say what I'm going to do before I do it, before you see me do it, because obviously I've done it and now I'm doing a voiceover. But I've got a glass dome that I've been wanting to do like a scene in a glass dome for quite some time. So, what I'm going to do is do the scenery for the scene in a glass dome first. This is what I'm doing here, and as you can see, I'm having real trouble deciding what I'm actually doing. As you can see, what with spending like a minute just, I don't know, looking at one piece of foam board, which is a bit weird. I suppose I'm trying to make it into a slightly more manageable size. If I'm really lucky, I may not cut my fingers off while I'm doing this. Yeah, I can spin it as much as I like. It's not going to magically make itself. I don't want to try to make it square. The dome I have is round, and yet here we are. I have no idea what I'm doing. Anyway, I'll probably crack on a bit more now, and I will speed things up a bit for you. Okay, this is probably not something you should do. After all, it's not peeling an apple. I am my own worst example. Terrible, terrible. Oh yeah, what I did say about the dome is the base of the dome has a little light in it. So I'm going to try and play with that, see if I can get a decent effect from that. I'm a danger to myself. Yep, not only am I dealing with sharp blades, but I also have a hot glue gun there. So wish me luck, I suppose. Look, this look like a bunch of wagon wheels, don't they? Yeah, obviously have decided that it's not tall enough. Whatever it is I'm going to do. I mean, I'm going to stack these up, obviously, because I've made a little hole in each of them for the light to shine through. And yep, they fit inside the dome, which is always good. It's always worrying. I'm making another one. Further stackage. Obviously decided that just wasn't... Oh, sticking them together there. One of the good things about hot glue is so quick. You just dum 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 dum, and it's all done. Yeah, I keep taking it. Oh dear, look at this. I'm cutting into it. I'm trying to make like notches in it and stuff, and I'm doing most of it off camera, mainly because I'm a ninny. As you can see, I've actually cut that out, so it didn't really give you a good shot of it. I'm trying to get the lighting right on this. It's very tricky. Enough fiddling. Let's get on with it. As you can see, it's got a couple of little bumps in it, and it's got a ragged edge. It's kind of hard to see from this point of view, but I think I better speed it up, otherwise we'll never get this finished. Here I'm sticking teeny tiny bits on and trying to sort of fiddle with the outline of this thing to see if I can get it looking well. Unfortunately there was a huge bit there where I was basically doing the whole thing off camera because I'm a ninny, as I said before. I'm not entirely sure why I'm being so finicky with this one, because I'm actually going to cover it with something shortly anyway. But for some reason my brain said, do these teeny tiny alterations because that'll make a difference. Anyway, here's where I make another fairly epically daft decision. I've put a shiny surface down, so because I'm using super light clay to cover this, and it's slightly sort of foamy, squishy stuff. I was given it as a present like 2 years ago, so I'm having real trouble finding bits that are actually working. So this is actually a lot harder than it would be if I'd used fresh clay. So I made it hard enough by using out-of-date clay, and then on top of that I've made it difficult for you to see what I'm doing by putting a shiny reflective surface directly beneath a ring light. So I do apologise, and I hope no one gets a headache. So I'm covering this thing in this clay, and what you're about to see here is me gently resting my forehead on my camera arm thing as I'm concentrating rather than actually paying attention to the video. I have made the daft mistake of putting my monitor screen slightly behind me so that I don't get distracted by it, because I tend to watch myself too much like a small child. You can see it's just gently being nudged sideways. There it goes, a bit further. When will I realise this is happening? When will I ever realise? I mean, obviously I do realise, because, you know, I do check every so often. Here I'm trying to make it look like boulders as the thing I'm doing gradually disappears off the camera and you get to see all my mess. I have turned the hot glue gun off, by the way, because I'm not using it at the moment. Don't worry about the extension cable there. I totally am not doing anything dangerous. I don't have any drinks or anything there, which is another bad thing. You should always stay hydrated. Yep, I have a lot of pens, a lot of mess, and yep, a lot of mess. So there's the last little bit just going on now. As I say, that clay was really hard to work because it was very elderly, and it should be, well, as you can see, it's not very pleasant. But it's like a lot of art materials, people buy them for you and you fully intend to use them, but you kind of have to have a project. That's why it's tricky. Buy art vouchers. Most independent shops will do you vouchers or give you credit, you know, little credit notes and whatnot. So it's worth doing. In this bit I'm just trying to make it look a bit more rocky, so it's like individual rocks rather than one big lump. And later on you'll see I'll try and get that a bit more defined as I work on it. Pokey pokey poke. Yay, I found some more clay. This one's still pretty... Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be. Ew, that's really not how it's supposed to be. Oh well, I'm gonna have a go with it anyway. In case you can't tell, I'm trying to make a figure, but for various reasons I hate it and it doesn't work. Partially because it's just, the clay just won't do what it's told, but mainly because I make it way too big to go under the dome with the piece of landscape as well. Unfortunately, I don't realise this for some time. Yep, still trying to make a body. still plugging away at this in spite of it going really poorly. I mean, look at those legs. Those thighs they would not save any lives. And that makes me sad. Probably best not to figure out what I'm trying to do at this point, but I appear to have attached jetpack to its butt, which is weird. Oh, and I pulled its head off. I really, really was having issues with this. Oh, looks like I've tried to make it smaller there. It's still not going to work, but I am trying nonetheless. Oh god. Oh, it's so bad. This is just, shamefully bad. Oh god, am I still persevering with that body? Yeah, I think at that point I'm just like, I don't know, like, what's the will? Making it all trim and fit nicely together. Lovely. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, chop, chop. Before you say anything, I know that this clay stuff was black. However, I'm gonna paint it black anyway because there are bits of foam and stuff, and to make it all one flat colour first. Yes, I realise it does kind of look like a fossilised stool, but at this stage I'm not bothered. Had to edit that a bit because there was another bit where I nudged the camera again, and you've already seen my mess, you don't need to see it again. And I'm still trying to get the hang of this body thing. I don't know what's putting me off, whether it's the lilac or the need to do something that looks usual, or just my general lack of skill. This is where the frustration really sits in. Oh my god, the horror. Yes, still trying to make the body fit the thing, and still probably gonna fail. And now I have blessedly saved you from me trying to dress that fairy and what have you, and I've gone on to the next idea. What I'm trying to do here is get an ideal small fairy wing, and I'm thinking something along the lines of dragonfly wings rather than butterflies, because I don't know, I kind of think the butterflies and fairies things, a lot of people do that, and I just want to do something a bit different. I'm going to be using, so these are just templates I'm trying to cut out. But what I'm going to be using to make the wings themselves is vellum paper, which isn't vellum, it is paper, but it's kind of well, it's not transparent, it's translucent. As you can see the markings on my cutting board there through the paper, so it gives me a bit of something fun to work with. As you can see here, I'm sticking them onto some little insect-like bodies I prepared earlier and forgot to record. I'm trying to dress my rock here with a few plant-like bits and bobs. Look at those cute little scissors. Got from Flying Tiger. Love that shop. It always has weird stuff. That fairy may have wings, but I think it's about time to give it some limbs. You can see here the wings are in the wrong place, so I have to fix that. I hope you can see here I've done a bit of dry brushing on the rock to make it look a bit sort of slightly mouldy and gross. And here's the Mark III fairy, well 3.0. So you've got a bit of a teeny tiny body and teeny tiny wings. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm about to make this rock look a bit more macabre. And since the rock's a bit macabre, it's perhaps appropriate that we should do the same with the fairy. Do you think it's too much or just creepy enough? What do you think? Better? Worse? About the same? I think we could possibly make it creepier. It's also around about here that I realise that I'm not just using the piece of wire that I've got poked into this thing as a stand for it to make it easier to paint. I actually, as you can see where I've peeled off the paper, I'm actually thinking about it as being a permanent feature on this, so it's almost like some kind of spear, which I know is probably a bit for most people, but hey, what can I say? With me, whimsical tends to turn dark very quickly. I think it's a very Disney thing. After all, if you have been traumatised by a Disney movie at some stage in your childhood, did you even really have a childhood? I remember I used to be terrified of the evil stepmother in Snow White. I'm not old enough to remember that when it was originally released, obviously, but there are some really, really scary bits. And, you know, if you actually read real fairy stories, there are some horrifying parts in it. Although, kids like that. One impaled fairy later. A splash of glue and a quick prod into the material and our fairy is fixed. I was going to say secure, but he's dead, so. Look at me daftly trying to put a glass dome on top of this thing with a huge ring light over the top. I don't even know what I'm trying to do here. I want you to see it, but I've obviously made it very difficult to do so. You can see it a bit better here. So I've kind of made the plants look a bit nasty and gross. I hope you enjoy. Yes, a small piece of pink parchment paper, which I can't say 5 times when I'm drunk. And you can probably guess what I'm trying to do with it, even if I am trying to do it very poorly. Pokey pokey poke. Whoops. Oh, sorry about blinding you there. I did a whole bunch of stuff just here to try and get that bit of pink paper exactly where I wanted it, and it involved the use of a environmentally friendly cotton bud and a pokey tool. Unfortunately, I did all of it off camera with no artificial light, which means that it was very dark and I think the worst mistake I made with this video was zooming in my camera way too much. Well, not that I zoomed in my camera, but putting my camera too close to where I was working, but I was worried that I'd lean over too much. And that kind of means that, yeah, you're getting bits of it, but not the whole thing, which I suppose is nice, because it means you can do a big reveal, but I quite like it. It's kind of gross. You can see it's, you know, artificial but quite fun. Now comes the part where I try and show off what I've done, and it's not really working. Hopefully I'll be able to re-edit this video so I can actually show you how it looks. But look, it has a little light, and it's putting out red light rather, well, reddish light rather than the yellow light it was letting out before. But anyway, here we go. It's really weird looking at it now, because I always thought that that looked like it was being spiked by something, but at the same time it kind of looks like an umbilical cord. So maybe this is how evil fairies are born.